have abandoned our sense of community outside of what makes us comfortable. Like, as long as we have friends to go out with.
Could that be defined as being lazy? Sound off in the comments. I honestly don't know.
I don't care about loyalty so much. Like, I don't care about sacrifice. As long as, like, my lifestyle is comfortable, I don't care about sacrificing anything for my, like, the community.
Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. Man, today we're looking at We Need to Talk. This is titled The S Word. Remember to like and subscribe. Still go hunting for that goal of 1,000 subscribers. Let's go ahead and get it going.
Do you really feel?
What is up with the sound? What is up with the sound? I need to do something here. Let's see if I can. Is that? I got the tone and.
I want to build with you. Black girl, tell me how you really feel. I just want to keep it real with you. I want to live better, eat better. I want to love mine 2 times for elevated rhymes.
I'm scared.
Why does the word submission trigger y'all?
I feel like these questions aren't that difficult.
They're not.
It's difficult from a woman's perspective because women don't want to wrap their minds around it. And I think that's why women are not okay with that word, because they don't want to inherently accept, how do we get there? How do we get to this point? If we're not even willing to accept the word, we're definitely not going to be willing to accept what got us to being icky about that word. We are the most helpful and kind, unhelpful motherfuckers on this planet.
Damn.
A woman will go to the death for her friend, and they will create the most cozy space for their family, the most endearing space for their best friend. But for some reason, when it comes to a man, it's a pit that you get in your stomach, like, oh, hell nah.
She's talking about being raised to be a soldier in the gender war. I keep telling y'all, this is why I say we need to do a better job of raising our kids. And this is a prime example of what has happened with a generation of our sons and daughters. So now you've got women who are, and what she basically just said is, instead of me working in cooperation with a man, or working in cooperation with a man gives me physical ailments. Oh boy. Now, how are we ever supposed to? Again, we have to do a better job of raising our kids. A lot of times we get on these panels and we watch these shows on YouTube and whatever, and where everybody's talking about, well, what's the answer? What's the answer? I just told you what it was. Do a better job of raising your kids, so they can actually work in cooperation with the opposite gender. Now, that is going to require you to pay attention to them and the way you raise them. You have to monitor the things that you say around them and how you interact with the opposite sex. And some of y'all are gonna eventually, we have to start addressing the issue of, we're not raising our kids anymore. We're expecting the daycare to do it. We're expecting the school to do it. Why? Because I'm too busy working to maintain this lifestyle that I can't afford in the first place. But look, I could do a whole hour live stream on that, and that leads down to somewhere that we're probably not going to cover in this video. So, yeah.
And I think it's also like, what are my friends gonna think if I talk about catering to my man? I can cater to my friends all day. Me, for example, I love having my friends around me, like, as far as holidays and dinners and like things that make my friends feel good. I love having us all together. We're all like that. All of my friends, I have a tight friend group. We're all like that. We just like having each other together. And
Is she discussing like a woman's natural ability to be nurturing? So essentially, she's replaced the man with her friend group. Is that what she's saying? Because then that would fulfill the ultimate need to be nurturing. Because,
thankfully, I don't have friends that if I were to do that same thing for a man, that they would look at me different. But I could see like a feminist or a woman that doesn't think that men they inherently don't think that men are deserving of that feminine submissive energy. I can see them doing those things in that same setting for their friend or for a family member at Thanksgiving, making it warm and lighting candles, this and that. And then maybe going home to their man and being like, oh, don't talk to me like that. You're talking, you want to make your plate? Fuck no. Just acting wildly different. So those like small little things, like I think as a society have a way of blowing things up bigger than what they really are. Like submission doesn't have to mean I'm getting on my knees for you.
no.
Like that's not what
The only thing submission means is that from a woman's perspective in a marriage, it just means that you're accepting of the fact that the man leads the household. That's it. I think sometimes we get cooperation and submission. The definitions become mixed together. But yeah, submission is the only thing. Submission is recognizing that your man is head of the household, and that there is a hierarchy there. He's head of the household, but he part of the reason why I think that people conflate the two is because you hear a lot of the reason I think that people conflate the two is because you hear a lot of women say, well, I'm not submitting. I need to have a say. He should listen to me. That's got nothing to do with submission. That is, in fact, cooperation. And I agree. You're supposed to have a say in what happens in the marriage. He's not supposed to make all the decisions without talking to you. Every woman in a marriage has some kind of expertise, or they're able to provide some form of value in the decision-making process. If you're in a marriage where you don't, that's not a marriage. And honestly, I don't know why you would want to be with a man like that, because he sees very little value in you. Most men who, when they propose to a woman, is because they see her as being valuable, and they want that woman in their life for, until the day that they leave this earth, because they see so much value in her. So yeah, I think there are, but again, part of the gender war, we got to perpetuate this stuff instead of actually having conversations where we break it down so there's understanding across the board. Let's go.
it has to mean. Like, it doesn't have to mean like you see in movies, like slaves being like, yes, okay. It doesn't have to be like that. Like, why is it that submission can't be the little subtle things, like simply, can you hand me that, babe? Or come help me with something, and you listening to the directions of what they're saying. Or can you go and get me whatever because I'm doing this? Or not even an explanation. They don't have to give you an explanation. Just like little things. I think that with the advent of feminism, like, we are so transfixed in our own autonomy that we've forgotten completely about our natural ability to want to take care and cater to other people. It doesn't necessarily have to be a mate or a partner, but we have a natural ability as women to want to take care of other people. Feminism has inserted this level of selfishness inside of us where My autonomy and my ability to be independent is king. That's what it is. And whenever I prove in a social setting, because usually it's a social setting, right? With these, you don't do this like stuff by yourself or whatever. But in a social setting, if I can prove that I'm the smartest, or I can prove that I did this thing on my own, it's like an accolade, or it's praised. We've also like, I don't know if I want to stop here, if I want to keep going. I don't think that Black women, I'm just going to talk about Black women.
That's what this is for. It's not about women. It's about Black women. It's not about men. It's about
I
Black
was going to say Black versus Black men. I'm just going to talk about Black women. I think that we have abandoned our sense of community outside of what makes us comfortable. Like as long as we have friends to go out with.
Could that be defined as being lazy? Sound off in the comments. I honestly don't know.
I don't care about loyalty so much. Like, I don't care about sacrifice. As long as like my lifestyle is comfortable, I don't care about sacrificing anything from my like the community. I think that a lot of us, I have a goddaughter, and we do the best that we can to provide a pretty solid community for her. But I still see like sometimes my selfish ways, especially when I was younger, because she was born, I think, maybe I was like 20, 21. When I was younger, I was like, no, I want to go out. Like, I want to party. I have zero regard for even though that she was young. Thankfully, I grew out of this because she's 6 now. But I have zero regard for this child and her well-being. I just want to go out and do whatever I want to do.
Which is interesting. I'm glad she said it. What she's really hinting at is that that's an immature way of thinking about things, of thinking about life. This is what we're right back to, we need to do a better job of raising our kids. It's a prime example of we're raising a generation of immature adults, especially when it comes to relationships. The average 21-year-old is not thinking about settling down. They're thinking about doing what feels good right now, which is very childish behavior. We got to do better, man. Because again, a lot of times, I think where the message gets mixed up is that we don't cover the importance of family anymore, marriage and family. And to the point where I was just looking at a panel the other day where, two gentlemen and it's two guys, and they're on a panel with a bunch of married men, and the men are trying to convince them the importance of getting married. And the guys who are single, they're saying, nah, I'm not doing it because that just don't sound appealing. They just don't get it yet. And it's not our job, or it's not my job to convince you that you need to get married. In fact, it's the exact opposite. If you're not ready, then you need to wait. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. You have to be ready to take that next step, and nobody should be trying to force you to do it. The stakes are too high as to what. The stakes are too high for the actual benefits that come along with marriage, or the purpose of marriage. That when you take it on and you're not ready, all it's going to do is crush you. Now, does that mean that you should just wait till no, because there are consequences for waiting too. I mean, again, we had another conversation about I participated in a live stream about the delusional male, and in the sense that a lot of these guys want to wait until they're, till I got my life together and I'm built and everything else, so I can go get the most, I can have the most options to pick a wife from. Understand when you want to wait until you're around 40 to do that, understand what those options are going to look like. By that age, most women have kids. And they've got not only that, but they have probably been either in some form of long-term relationship, or they've been married and they're now divorced. Which there's a higher likelihood that you're going to meet more alpha widows at that point, versus trying to get it right when you're younger. I mean, believe it or not, the bar is a lot lower when you're younger to finding a wife than it is when you're older. Yeah, you get more options, but I mean, seriously, what's the quality of those options? But let's keep going because we're getting off track.
We've lost like our sense of like loyalty to our communities.
Yes, we have.
And to ourselves. And we are so fucking brainwashed.
This comes from an individualistic mentality that says that I'm better than my community. I shouldn't have to wait around or cater my standards to promoting that. I want what I want right now, and I got to have it right now. When you break it down like that, it seems, this is the same thing that my kids do now. I got a 6-year-old. That's how she behaves. As she should, because she's 6. But when you have grown-ups that acting like this is part of the reason why. This is part of how. This is part of how you destroy or tear down a community. Make everyone an individualist and out for self instead of out for. You don't even have to build a family. I mean, and it's not even about building a community at this point. This is about I'm greater than the sum of my family. So I don't need to worry about, prolonging or extending my legacy past my own lifetime. I should just focus on what I can do right now. But we know where this ends, though. It's very bad. But we're going to go ahead and end it here. Guys, remember to check out We Need to Talk. I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.